Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Hopefully, you should be able to see my screen and my LinkedIn profile. Could somebody just write in the meeting chat notes if you've got access to them, that you can see my screen? So today we are going to go through LinkedIn and how you can use it to recruit for free. There are a couple of elements in LinkedIn that are paid for. One is the marketing suite to allow you to market your organization or job vacancy out to potential people. And the other is the job advert slots that you get one free, and then you have to pay for with your school or business or organization account. So we'll stay clear of those because lots of paid for options out there. And we're just going to focus on your ability to recruit for free on LinkedIn. So first of all, we're going to start off with your profile. I won't go through in detail how to update your profile because there's lots of different things that you could be using LinkedIn for. I'll just go through those elements that are relevant for recruitment. So the vast majority of actions on LinkedIn are people looking at other people's profiles. They're not looking at business pages. They're not going through their feed. They're clicking through to view other people, either people that they're looking to recruit or network with or connect with or engage with, or people that they're just kind of interested in because they're in similar roles. So this first part of your profile is going to be really important. If you are a recruiter, your first headline element is going to be the bit that is what a candidate's basing accepting your connection or your message on. But it does default as your job title and your place of work. So simply click this pencil icon here and scroll down, and you can edit your headline. So just explain the types of people that you're looking to connect with, what you're recruiting for at the moment, and there's no harm in updating this on a weekly basis. Another thing that you might want to just tidy up is typically your profile URL is a long line of numbers. So on the right-hand side, you've got a pencil that you can click, and that allows you to edit this text for your URL. It's a very simple trick to do, but if you're recruiting a lot and you want people to connect with you on LinkedIn, then changing that to something short that explains your name makes it easier for people to find you. And it also makes it easier for you just to share that link with people, either on your signature for your emails or when you're sending somebody an email message. Just makes it a bit cleaner and tidier and increases that conversion rate. So the pencil icon throughout the profile is a very useful tool. In the About section, I would be listing the job vacancies that you recruit for. So anybody you're connecting with can quickly see the types of vacancies you have, and they're then going to know why you're adding them as a connection. LinkedIn will block your profile or pause your profile access if you send too many connection requests and not enough acceptances. So it's really important that you message people, you explain to them why you're connecting with them, but also that you have a profile that explains to them who you are and what you're looking to do on LinkedIn. You can run newsletters, so about job vacancies, but we'll come back to posting content. You can share content and post content through your profile, which again, we'll come back to. But the next bit is just to have a little bit of information about your current experience. So make this a little bit of a sales pitch for your organization. So why would people want to work for your organization? They should be the things that will give you the biggest return on investment in terms of the time that you invest on improving your profile. So updating your banner, maybe with an image that's related to your organization, updating your headline to show who it is you're looking to connect with and why you're looking to connect with them, sharing content, which we're going to come on to, and making sure that the about your current job section shows and details what you're recruiting for and who you're recruiting for and why you're a great place to work. That will make sure that that conversion rate from people who are you're connecting with and you're engaging with to those people that accept that connection and message you back and apply for your jobs, it'll ensure that those conversion rates are as high as possible. So in terms of sharing content, you will have your own profile and you will have the profile of your organization. If you don't have that profile of an organization on this left-hand side where it says pages, as you can see here, bright, then the thing that you need to do is ask whoever owns that profile, typically your marketing team, to give you admin level access. That will mean that when you are posting content, you have got the ability to post from that profile. So I can go in here, I can select Bright, I can click save, and now when I post, it's posting as Bright. Typically, the content that performs the best, though, is actually going to be from you as an individual. So people will engage a lot more with your content if you're posting it. So one big mistake people make with recruitment is typically they will post as their organization and then they will share that content. One of the things that we're seeing in the last 6 months in terms of the new algorithm that LinkedIn's been bringing out is that it's actually better to post as you as an individual and then ask whoever's managing that page, or if you're managing it, you share as your organization or business or school that post. So it might be that you are recruiting for an IT technician, my favorite example to give as a job. So you might write about the fact that your IT team is growing, they're going to be involved in lots of new cybersecurity, they'll be at the forefront of technology for networks. Your company profile then can reshare that and say, our HR advisor, our HR manager, our HR director, whoever you are, is currently recruiting for X role. Please see below for more details. So it's just reversing things from 12 months ago where you might have been sharing something as a business or an organization, and then you might have been sharing it as an individual. So just rotate that around. Content should always have a photo or an image or a video with it. Content that's just text tends to do very poorly on LinkedIn. So even if it's a stock photograph or it's just something you've taken from your website, make sure that you're sharing something visual there. The most difficult thing with content is that you will be punished by the algorithm if you post the same types of things. So what most people would refer to as spamming. So for example, if every week you posted 5 different jobs that you're recruiting for, or even if you do that every month and you share nothing else, your content then will be shown to less people. So one way to divide your content up in a clean way is just to think of things in thirds. So 1/3 needs to be about marketing and recruitment. So you might be promoting out your place of work. You might be promoting out jobs. That needs to stick in the category of 1/3 of your content. The other third is about your profession and your area. So if you're a recruiter or a HR professional or senior leader, then talk about changes within that area. And then the final third needs to be about your sector. So if you're an independent school, how's the changes with VAT impacting you? If you're a trust, how's growth impacting you? If you're a nursery, how's declining birth rates impacting you? That will mean that when people are seeing your posts, they're more likely to engage with it because there'll be something relevant for your network at least once a week. For anybody who struggles to find the time, which is probably the vast majority of people, the best way to do this would be to start off with 3 posts a week, 1 in each of those different thirds. The types of things to share when it comes to recruitment, so that 1 post a week, traditionally the best things that have worked have been about the department or team that you're going to recruit for. So if you know you've got, going back to my example of an IT technician, if you know you've got the IT technician job coming up next week, this week build a bit of brand awareness by talking about the technology or that team uses, or highlighting promotion within that team. So a typical workflow might be somebody is being promoted, that creates a vacancy. Between the points that you're going live with the recruitment and that person's being promoted, you might want to put out a post to celebrate their promotion. And then once that job vacancy's gone live, there's a connection there. So you've built a bit of brand awareness because people are more likely to apply for a job if they've seen recently some content about that organization that's relevant to them. If it is a new role, you could be talking about the area that role will be supporting. So, for example, we've just seen in the last 12 months, our clients recruiting for IT directors when they're in trusts and schools, which is quite uncommon, but very common for the organizations and the businesses we work for. So we took some of those things that the businesses and organizations have done to recruit IT directors, and we passed some of those lessons learned onto to the school sector, so that they could be posting about the things that an IT director will be facing in terms of challenges. And then when they post that IT director job, there's already some interest there. It tends to also get better engagement from an algorithm point of view as well. So in terms of what to post, that's quite easy. In terms of when to post, mid-morning on Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays typically do better. So 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. They tend to do well, but do trial different things. And the way that you trial different things is you click on the left-hand side here for post impressions, and you scroll through to your performing posts. So you can see what does good look like, what does pretty good look like, and what does poor look like in terms of performance for your campaigns. So for your posts, sorry. So I can see that 1,000 impressions is very good. And I can see that most of my content is between 300 to 500 impressions. So I know what's working and what's not working, and I can adjust my approach based on that. This model only works if you have a network. So the best way to start that network would be to look for similar people to you. So say you're working for a small, medium-sized business within the education sector, you might be the HR manager doing the recruitment. So you might search for HR manager at the top. You then need to filter on people. So I would always start by connecting peers if you have not been using it to recruit in the past. And you need to add in your location. For most people, the best would be the United Kingdom. So you're networking with HR managers in the United Kingdom. And then I would use filters so that I'm not going across all sectors, and I would go down to industry. So if you put in education, you'll see that there's a number of different areas. So select the area that's most relevant for you. So if you're in higher education, select higher education. If you're in administration programs for education, select that. But if you're a school, even if you're in a trust or an independent school, your category is primary and secondary education. And then finally, you might want to trial using education as a broad sector, because not everybody is precise in terms of selecting their profile set up for the right sector. So let's go for, let's pretend we are recruiting or we're looking to connect with HR managers within schools. I can then filter this, so I can see everybody I'm connected with, but I can filter this on second tier connections. I can then go through to these people and I can click to send them a message. So Sarah Sims, for example, and I can send a note, or I can send without a note. Trial and error is the best way to know what works well, but if you're a HR manager and you're connecting with a HR manager in a similar position, I wouldn't really worry too much about writing a note. I would just send a couple of invitations every day. And if I was recruiting, I would add a note. The reason I'd add a note for recruitment is because when somebody accepts your connection request, they will appear here in your notifications. Whereas if they were to accept your connection request and you've sent them a message, they'd appear in your messages. Messages are just an easier way to keep track of the people that have connected with you, because they're in a conversation list like you would see on, say, WhatsApp, whereas notifications get cleared very quickly. So just to recap, the process for kind of starting recruitment would be to improve your profile, make sure that the headline is correct and updated about the types of roles you're recruiting for. I would then start to build my network. So I'd start to go search for people in similar roles to me. So the example gave HR manager, filter it on locations, filter it on the sector, so primary and secondary education. And once I had a network of over 100 people, a mixture of people that might be recruiting or might be my peers, I would then start my process of posting content. And then that content would be in thirds. It would be 1/3 about marketing out my place of work. The other third would be about my profession, so HR or recruitment or senior leadership. And then 1/3 would be about my sector, so about trusts or schools or exams or digital education or ed tech, whatever it might be that you work in. Once you've built that network, you're ideally aiming for about for over 500 connections. Typically over 500 connections, the algorithm for content works a little bit better, but also it's just easier to recruit. So my example was an IT technician. If you struggle with those roles, connect with those people first of all. So even if you're not recruiting, you're building a lifetime pipeline really of candidates. So IT technicians become IT managers become IT directors become CTOs. It's always going to be helpful to have those connections, even if they're moving roles or progressing within their career. Once you've built that network of relevant connections, when you then share content, the new algorithm forms a bubble around that piece of content. So think of it in the context of if you just talk about cybersecurity, the key word in that post might be cybersecurity. The algorithm's then going to be sharing it to anybody who's linked to cybersecurity on LinkedIn, which is going to be very narrow. Whereas if you say, we've got 5 IT technicians working within our IT department within our trust, and they're working on cybersecurity in these areas, the keywords for IT technician are in the post, and the algorithm will form a better, more targeted and more relevant bubble around that content. It's a brand new piece of algorithm from LinkedIn, and it's a really useful tool because if you're using those keywords and they're relevant for a job title, it means you can present your content to more relevant people, and your content will typically do better. Where your content is very, very niche, that can be an advantage or it can be a disadvantage. So going back to cybersecurity, you might be recruiting an IT technician with cybersecurity experience. You would want both IT technician and cybersecurity in there. So you're covering both of those keywords and you're forming a relevant bubble around your content. It's a bit of a weird analogy, but hopefully that bubble concept makes sense. It's basically stopping people who aren't relevant to that content from seeing it. And it's the first thing that you should consider. So if we go back to reviewing our content, so in post impressions, if we go through our performance for our posts and we look at something that's not done particularly well, so this has only got 11 impressions, whereas these have got 300. It might be because I have used here HR and recruitment professionals, whereas the algorithm's not going to know that as a job title because very few people in the education sector would call themselves a recruitment professional on their LinkedIn profile. They might call themselves a recruitment manager. They might call themselves talent acquisition manager. They might call themselves HR manager or HR business partner or whatever it might be. So that is typically why that content isn't working. Where I have said above for the post that's got over 300 impressions, nursery owners, That's typically the job title that people have on their profile. The algorithm can do its job. It can connect my content with relevant people. And the more people that view, engage, click show more, like whatever it might be, your content, the more people it's shown to. And that's how you can build a bit of traction with content. And a really good tip is just if people comment on your post, you go back and you thank them or you respond to their comment, because that will also give it a bit of a boost as well. So we've been through the workflow in terms of what you can do to recruit. To find people, you would follow the exact same steps. So for example, if I was recruiting for a HR manager, I would have used the same steps. I would have searched for HR manager, I would have filtered it on the United Kingdom, but I might have also filtered it a bit further. So I might have removed United Kingdom and I might have put Cambridge or Greater Cambridge, for example, if that's the location of the role that I'm recruiting in. Once I've done that, I would try and avoid focusing too much on just posting multiple jobs. I hopefully would have the opportunity to do a bit of brand awareness before and a bit of brand awareness after that. So I might be talking about the IT team before, in the week before, then I might post the job. And then afterwards, I might kind of just have a polite reminder for people by saying, oh, great achievement within our IT team. We've done X, Y, and Z. We've just implemented X, Y, and Z. If you're interested in joining such a team, click below to see our current vacancy. Hopefully, that is all very helpful. I have tried not to rush through it, but I've also tried to keep things as simple as possible because I think LinkedIn can be very overwhelming. As I stated at the beginning, post as you as an individual, then share as you as a school, a business, organization, whatever you might be, because that's typically working better at the moment. And if you really struggle for content, you've got LinkedIn News at the top. So you can go through and you can see how many people are talking about different topics. So for example, people are talking about why your work shouldn't define you. So you can click on that. You can see what the content summary is, and then you can share that topic to your post. So refeed in post, and it formats in a really nice way. You can just add your thoughts in to the top of it. If you are not recruiting, but you want to keep your flow of LinkedIn going, when you click Start Post, most people don't know that you've got a little More button here at the bottom. And you can post photos, you can create events, you can celebrate occasions, share that you're hiring, create a poll, add a document, find an expert. Polls work really well. Sharing that you're hiring works really well. And it just gives you a starting point to get something that you know is going to engage well and stand out a little bit, because a lot of people don't use those options within LinkedIn. Brilliant. That was everything that I wanted to go through with everybody. Does anybody have any questions at all based on anything that I've said this morning or this afternoon? Perfect. So I'm going to share a recording of this with everybody. If you get stuck or you want me to have a look through your profile, feel free to send me across a link to your profile, and I can have a look through it. If you want to just check some content with me before you post it as well, feel free to send me a link to either the post that you've made, or if you don't want to post it, send me the creative bit, the image, the video, whatever it might be, and the text, and I will review it for you. But thank you very much for attending. It was our first one on Teams rather than Click Meeting. Hopefully more people have been able to access it. But yes, thank you very much for your time.